Hello and welcome to another episode of Scribes and Songsters here on your TV. I'm Veronique Mandel and I'm delighted to be able to introduce you to more great local writers and musicians. This week we'll meet two local authors who are writers and publishers. We'll also hear music from another husband and wife team known as Fresh Breath. But let's get started. Elaine Weeks and Chris Edwards are fixtures on the writing and publishing scene here in our region. They're a husband and wife team who are authors and also the owners and publishers of Walkerville Publishing in Windsor. They've recently produced two interesting and popular books, 500 Ways You Know You're from Windsor and 5,000 Ways You Know You're from Detroit. Elaine and Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
So I know you do many interesting things in your lives, but how did you get into the writing business? I mean, was that your first careers?
Well,
Wow.
that's a good question. I have a degree in English, so I always loved reading, and I enjoyed writing essays, etc., but I never thought I'd end up writing books. I thought I would be a sports journalist, actually. That was my dream, to travel around the world and covering the Olympics, etc., because I have another side to me where I was a competitive athlete for many years at the at the national level. So
Wow,
that
what
was
happened?
well, there were no jobs. And then I thought I'd become a teacher, and then there were no jobs. So I was also a little shy then. I kind of made up for that later. So,
Did Chris cause that?
what, the shyness or the other part?
The other part.
Coming out.
The coming out part? Yeah, I'm not sure. So anyway, yeah, I ended up meeting Chris, and I think that he did help me sort of realize what my capabilities were. And Chris, was going back to school as a mature adult. A mature adult? Is that like an oxymoron
Mature
or
part
something?
still.
It depends if you're talking about Chris.
It's under debate, the mature part. I'm not sure if that ever-
Yeah. So, and he'd already had his bachelor's in. What did you get your bachelor's in again?
I got my master's in
Yeah,
communication.
but before that, what did you?
Oh, in communication.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's how I got into writing, was through the communication program at Windsor. And you had to write a lot of papers.
Yes.
We never had a plan. That's the interesting part about the whole thing. It was graduate from school, and then Apple came out with that first Macintosh, and we said, that is so cool, because I had published my thesis and it was so difficult, and this thing was going to make publishing completely different. And of course, it changed the publishing world, and we got in right away over 30 years ago. And we've been sort of hanging around the Mac and publishing ever since.
And we're going to talk about that whole publishing aspect of your careers in the second half of the show.
Yeah.
But I really want to get a sense of this whole writing thing, because I want to talk about your two books in a minute.
Yeah.
But did you start your writing career separately, or was that joint?
We were into marketing and advertising, where we really, clients would hire us to do writing. We had to really, you start with the simple brochure, and then you move into annual reports and corporate pieces. We were doing public relations, where we had to write speeches. We're helping people with their PR, and we kind of
campaigns too, literature, and coming up with whole strategies. So
political campaigns, lots of briefs we had to prepare, and we were into that whole side of the business. And then somebody came up to said, I really want to do a book, and we helped them with a book. And then
was out west.
Out west.
We lived out west.
And then we came back to Windsor, and we started the Walkerville Times, which we launched as a community newspaper. For
the historic neighborhood of Walkerville, Old and South. And we meant it to be more like a community publication at the time, because we had lived in so many cities that had that kind of thing, like Toronto has it, and Vancouver, et cetera, and Windsor doesn't have that. So we thought, well, we'd provide a way for people to find out what's going on in this area. And we thought, well, we'll throw in a little history. It's Walkerville after all. So lo and behold, we had it put into, I don't know how many, 10,000 homes or something for free.
Homes, yeah.
Thanks to our advertisers. People just went nuts when they saw the history. Nobody had ever thought of doing this before. And the first article was Hiram who? Like, who is Hiram Walker?
Yeah.
And so we really hit a nerve.
Now, did you do most of the writing yourselves?
Yeah, and then we had a lot of interns and we had a lot of freelancers. So we did 61 issues of the Walkerville Times through the course of about 8 years.
Since 1999.
1999 to around 2007. And then now and then we do them. And then people said, could we do a book on all our stories? So we did our first book, The Best of the Times magazine, which was 408 pages.
Well, they didn't ask us. They asked us for back issues, which we had many of, and then we started running out. So then we thought, well, we've got them digital because that's the fast, wonderful thing.
My story's better, even if it's not true.
Mine's real though.
Yeah, well, you know.
Did you write any books before the 500 and the 5,000?
Yes.
What did you do?
We did that first one Chris mentioned, which was Best of the Times magazine compilation.
Yeah.
And then we did, after that, was it the Postcards from the Past?
Postcards from the Past, which is
I
a
remember
collection of
Yes.
postcards.
Windsor and the Border Cities.
Yeah.
And then we did Windsor Then, a pictorial
Then.
essay of Windsor, Ontario's glorious past, which is mostly a picture book.
Yeah, so people came to us and they said, we love these old photos, but I can't relate to it. I don't know these places. Could you do something
I don't know about that.
of our era? More of...
They were more interested in their own time.
Yeah, in their own
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
So is that
couldn't-
what led
Yes.
to
Yeah,
500
so-
Ways?
Yeah, post-World War II baby boomer book. So
Because there's an awful lot of them, right? The
Right.
boomers.
yeah,
Yes.
there's
That
a
was
lot of buyers,
A lot of buyers.
a lot of interested people because it's
Good demographic for
Yes,
it's a
book
mirror.
selling.
You hold it up and it's your life.
absolutely.
So that really resonated with people. That book was a runaway success for us in that people could really relate to it. They could open it up and they could find their childhood memories because as you get older, you really get a nice glow around your childhood. So this
It always
was,
seems better than
it
it
always-
actually was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, maybe it was
Just
good for
as
some
well.
people, but yeah.
and you know, it's before the franchises moved into our lives and
Yeah.
fast food and, you know,
So-
you knew all of these businesses personally. So this book was a raging success. And
So how did you, is this all research or did you get information from people and photographs?
I think did we use Facebook when we started that one?
no, Facebook wasn't.
No?
Well, we did
I
a
thought
bit.
we did.
A bit.
We asked people to provide their memories and pictures. So we got some for the first edition. We did 2 editions. First one sold out very quickly, 5,000, like within 6 months or some
Wow.
crazy thing. So the second one we added 60 more images, and that included more from people. But we used a lot of our resources because, of course, we had been doing this our own publication, history publication. That basically what it became, the Walkerville Times, and it. So we had, oh my God, and so many people would bring us pictures. They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
would say, nobody in my family wants this, so can you do something? And so we had a vast archive that we've actually since donated to the University of Windsor.
And so that leads me to 5,000 ways.
You need
People
two
now they're
hands.
from Detroit.
Yeah, you need to be in shape to pick that book up.
Yeah,
That's
no
a-
kidding.
Yeah.
So, what was the thought process? Because this was successful, this could be, or
Yeah.
did you have a connection?
Basically part of it. And it was just something we thought about too, because Windsor's essentially South Detroit. We're a mile away. We're south of Detroit. We were called that at one point because they couldn't think of a name to call us on this side. Well, we are kind of,
Yeah.
So it just seemed a natural progression. And the fact that the book is 5,000 ways is because obviously Detroit being such a much bigger city
Yes.
and outskirts, et cetera, that it was there was just so much more. In fact, it was really tough to stop.
Yeah.
There's just so much in
Yes.
Detroit to
Tell me about the
remember.
process of
Well, they've
getting your
done a
information.
better job of preserving their archives in Detroit. So I delved into it and went through every archive I could find online to make connections with people. And then I found a whole bunch of photographers who are from that era. And they all agreed to give us their work for no charge, which is amazing.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and we
Just a
ended
credit
up with
and a-
quite a lot of. So we honored them by doing full page photos of Detroit from, basically before the war, just before World War II to about 1980, and there's just a treasure trove of information.
Yeah.
And the connections again over there is even more insane because Detroit in World War II came back. It was really down. It came back because of the arsenal of democracy. So we didn't really know that story. And so what we wanted to do is pay tribute to the women because they didn't get enough credit because it was women that worked in all the factories.
Yeah.
And then the women are sent home
After
the war to have babies, and they weren't too happy about it, which led to the whole feminist movement. So, and then the whole story of what happened to the blacks. Where did the riots come from? Well, it's a deeper story, and we were able to connect all of these dots throughout this project. It's an enormous project that we did.
So you can look at the book in different levels. You can look at it just as a fun picture book. Wow, look at all these great things, like the places you could go shop, etc. But then there's a much deeper level of the social history of an amazing city that went through so many ups and downs. And just in the last 60, 70 years. So we tried to honor that while at the same time not dwell on the negatives, which some people have done with Detroit books. So
ruin porn, as it's called, Detroit ruin. And we just love that era, the cars, It starts with the cars, and then everything that it allowed teenagers to be teenagers and go to drive-ins and the whole thing.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back, and I have a question that I want to ask you about this, and then we're going to talk about publishing and a little bit of marketing, and you can show me what you've got here.
Okay,
but, this has been really interesting, but I want to tell folks a little bit about our musical guest. We're going to bring you a musical interlude, and then we'll come back and talk to Elaine and Chris about the world of publishing. Now, our musical guests are Katie and Josh Pascoe. They're a husband and wife team performing as Fresh Breath. Katie and Josh have been performing music together for over 10 years. They started as a duo, then toured for years as a band, and more recently have returned to performing as a duo. Fresh Breath released an album in 2017 called Us Against the World, which they describe as 10 new songs about life back on the farm, hardships and struggles, and ultimately love for this crazy thing we call life. From Cottam, Ontario, here is Fresh Breath performing Back to Our Roots.
Get back,
Get back,
get back,
get back,
get back,
I get back, get back, get back. I get back to our roots.
yeah.
Oh, you know that it's true.
Got to get back to.
I get back to our roots.
yeah.
Just me and you. It was so much easier when it was just you and I. No conflicting schedules. Yeah, it seemed we didn't have to try. Responsibility and yeah, we didn't care. Now the job to be there. Yeah, this dream we still dare. I get back to our roots. Oh, you know that it's true.
Got to get back to.
I get back to our roots. I just me and you. It's been a long and
just me and you.
Well, that was Katie and Josh Pascoe with a song from their latest album. My guests are Elaine Weeks and Chris Edwards, and earlier we were talking about their writing careers, and we're going to talk about that other difficult part of writing, publishing. But I wanted to ask you, have you had fun doing these books? I mean, I know this is hard work. But have you had fun?
We enjoy the production of the book more than we enjoy the selling, which is probably true for most artists, writers, etc.
Yes.
We find the selling part a challenge, but we have a lot of fun. We've had a lot of experience with marketing. It's a challenge, and Detroit's a new market for us. We're completely unknown over there, so we're really starting from zero. And it's been a challenge, but we're up for it. We hustle.
Yeah.
We're out there. We shake it.
I mean, you're
you
known
know?
as being really good marketing hustlers.
Yeah, we hustle it.
In a very positive way.
Oh, okay, good. Good. Yeah, we love to get out there. We love meeting people, and
We find, though, it's really interesting because of the fact that nowadays you would think with the rise of social media, with Twitter, Facebook, et cetera, that, oh my goodness, there's millions of people on the internet all the time and you can get all these followers, et cetera. But there's still something about mainstream traditional media that is more effective at this time.
absolutely.
And
For our audience,
yes,
which is the
older,
baby boomers,
tends to be the older
they eat a
generation.
lot of traditional media.
Yes.
I mean, I think
So-
their TVs are on in the morning when they get up for the morning, whatever show you like, ABC or CBS or NBC, and they go through the
CTV.
day in their cars. They listen to radio stations, talk radio, and they absorb traditional media. They still read newspapers.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
figure.
So that our crowd is more trad media. Social media is not as doesn't work as well for us. We find if we do a TV interview, you can just watch the Amazon clicker go ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's funny how it works.
it is.
It's a mystery science, honestly. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
And the thing anymore, even if you go with a big publisher, they don't do marketing for you. They only market, for the big names,
That's
like the Margaret Atwoods of Canada.
They only market winners, so it's
Yes.
self-perpetuating.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it's a catch-22.
it is.
Because really, well, I'm an unknown, but I might have a good product, but you're an unknown, so we're not gonna waste any money on you.
That's
yes.
right. And I think
So-
you know that with your book, how you have to do it.
Yes,
You have to,
absolutely.
you're the only one that's going to sell your thing.
Yes. And it is. It's a real challenge for all of us, and even people who are with some of these bigger name publishing houses.
Yes.
They're still out hustling.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be your
So
own
now,
editor.
who do you publish? No, who publishes your books?
Well, we do.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. We do what we do end to end. The only thing we don't do is the printing. People
Yeah.
get confused between publishing and
Yes,
printing.
they do.
We're a publishing house,
Yes.
and we from time to time we take on projects. At the moment, we're helping a gal with her project called Healing Pretty. It's the story of how if women who have cancer, how they can feel good about themselves. So we're embracing that. So lovely project. So we're looking more for relevant projects now to help
Book
people.
projects.
Book projects, yes. So,
Right.
but really, we're focused 100% on marketing these two books at the moment.
Yeah.
That's our.
And so, one of your marketing pieces you've got with you, Elaine.
Yes.
Won't you let me see
This
it?
is our little card, our business card.
calling card.
calling card. Have card will travel.
And the book is actually this big. If you buy one, no, I'm
No,
kidding.
it's not quite this big.
No, yeah. Well, the size of it feels that big.
Well, the writer at Metro Times, it was funny. He said it would be something that Dick the Bruiser could use to knock out Alex Karras in the wrestling ring.
The book
big enough.
weighs over 5 pounds. Can you believe that?
It's over
the
5
5,000
pounds.
Ways book.
Oh.
Over 5 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big book.
That's insane.
So we do
7 kilograms, like-
we're unique in that we do the writing, we do the design, we do all the photo editing. We've taken a ton of photos in there. We lay it out, we pre-press it, we send it off to the printer, it comes back, and then we sell it.
Wow.
So we're
Now-
crazy people.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Where do you send it to get printed?
This was done in Manitoba, Friesen's
Yeah,
Press.
different
And because of
printing
NAFTA,
companies.
I found out, like you say, what did you learn? I learned
Yes.
that under NAFTA, we can ship books to the U.S. tax-free from Canada under NAFTA. So this beautiful
Really?
NAFTA, which I absolutely love. So we had it done in Winnipeg,
Yeah.
shipped to a distributor in Michigan, and the distributor, we call them, and they send them to whoever we want, one or a box or someday, hopefully, a pallet. In my dreams. Got to think positive.
Yes, you have to think positive.
We
in
got
this
special
business.
price on pallets of books.
Now, is it? I know a lot of people used to send, and probably still do, send books to China.
We sort of, we did at 1st and we sort of fell out of China, even though we could have probably saved more than a third off. We kind of fell out of love with having our books done in China.
Why?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. You know, it's not just about money, it's about jobs. This is a good Canadian company. I mean, it doesn't seem like it makes sense business-wise to pay more, but it's a good Canadian company. It's a solid company. It's employee-owned. They do a good job. And we just felt better about it. I don't know if that
And
makes
some
sense.
people don't
Yes,
like it
absolutely.
when they see that your book's been done in China.
Right.
They really have a problem with that. So
As they walk down the street in their Chinese blue jeans, they give you a hard time.
There's
about
such a dichotomy, isn't it, to what people will spend money on for items from China.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll go into the dollar store and fill up 2 carts.
yes,
It
oh
just-
for sure.
It was just a decision we made. We don't talk about that very often, but ethically, we felt better about spending our money in Canada, creating employment in Canada. And Americans are quite surprised when they hear it's printed in Canada. We explain about NAFTA and what a great thing it is.
Yes.
And we were not permitted to actually print our books in the USA as a Canadian company. Can you believe that?
What?
It's
Isn't that
against the
weird?
rules.
Seriously?
Yeah, we'd have to set up an American company to print books in the USA
But can, like, an individual
to
can get
sell in the States.
Oh.
Yeah, we could have printed them in the States and sold them in Canada,
Right.
no problem. But to print them and sell them in the States, it's taboo unless you set up a Canadian company. Now you're into a whole lot of expense, probably 10 grand to get that all set up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you had if your book was accepted by a publisher in the United States, would you then be able to have your
They
books?
take care of all of that.
Yeah.
They've got it all figured out because they're
Right.
worldwide companies. They have a
Yes.
branch in Canada. They have a branch in the States. It's kind of what we did, but we have our books sent to Canada and our books sent to the States, and we don't cross the border with them.
Wow, you
Interesting,
certainly have
eh?
to learn a lot
Yeah.
of
Wow. And
stuff.
it was only a great coincidence. We were in Florida and I was really struggling. And I was talking to a great friend of mine, Don Larkin, great guy. And he said, oh, well, Joanne King. And she works for, oh my God, Deloitte. And she does cross border. And I met with her and she explained it all to me, hooked me up with a great lawyer. And it all came together. It's just weird.
It was a big learning curve.
Yes,
For sure.
absolutely.
Scary.
Yeah, it was. It was scary because we really didn't want to make any mistakes because that would jeopardize
Yes.
everything that we've done with this project because we don't get grants. We do these.
That's
we
right.
finance these books
Ourselves.
ourselves. The only
Yes.
one we didn't was our first one. We got sponsors, but that's a whole other big effort to
Yes,
do that.
it is. You almost need someone dedicated if you want to go down that grant road.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean,
Oh,
and
for
many
sure.
do,
Yeah.
but you need someone dedicated because I mean, it's a rat's nest
Yes.
and
Time
difficulty
consuming.
and time consuming.
You've seen the grant forms. Oh my God.
They
Yes.
can be very complicated and arduous to fill out, and then you have to have your timing has to be right.
Yeah, we've never applied for a literary
it's-
grant, which is kind of crazy. We've done 7 books
Yeah.
on our own. 8 now?
Well, mine all.
I always look at the back of a book because I mean I have so many friends who publish as well, and I mean I write and get published and I mean it's a costly venture.
Yes, it is.
And so I look at other people's books, and sometimes I'll see 5 different
I know.
government agencies.
Bugs. Government bugs on
think,
logos.
Wow.
Yeah, I give people credit that can do that.
Oh, totally.
It's a skill.
It is
Yeah.
a skill.
Yeah.
And
We're not good at it.
this has been so fascinating. And you see how time flies. We're just about out of time. But I wanted to ask you very briefly if you could sort of give the people listening who are in our situations one piece of advice each. What would it be?
Chris, you go first.
I
have to
always
think.
say persistence.
Yeah.
Persistence. Believe in what you're doing and do it for the right reasons. That 2 pieces of advice. Do it for the right reasons. If you think you've got the next Harry Potter, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say make sure that you get somebody besides your mother to read your book. That's why I started Write on Windsor, which is a writers group, and everyone helps each other.
That's wonderful. Thank you both so much. It's been a
It's been
joy.
a pleasure. Real
As always.
pleasure.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been really interesting, and I want to wish Elaine and Chris great good luck. Well, that's it. Join me again when you'll meet more of the talented writers who live and work in our region right here on Scribes and Songsters. I'm Veronique Mandel. Thanks for watching.
Give back to all.
Oh, get back, yeah.
Yeah, you know that it's true.
Oh, you know it's true, yeah.
Give back to all.
Oh, you got to get back,
Yeah, it's me and you.
just me and you, yeah.
Just me